Hi, welcome back to Happy Apple Core Homestead. Today we're going to make raspberry wine, and this is part 1. Everything that I tell you here today as far as supplies and recipes go is going to be down in the description box for easy access, so you can do this along with me. First, let's talk about the supplies that we need and the ingredients that we need. Everything that you see here in front of me has been sanitized. I use Easy Clean. You can use whatever kind you want. Just make sure everything that's going to touch the wine has been sanitized, including your must bag. This is a nylon reusable must bag that I got online, and if you have a local wine store, you can pick them up there as well. I also have a 6-gallon bucket here. It's big enough that I could make a 5-gallon batch of wine if I wanted to, but we won't need that much space today. I also have a super long spoon. I have a wine thief and a hydrometer. I also have some measuring spoons and a measuring cup. This is optional. These are pH strips. I like to see what the acid level is before I put in the acid blend. And I also have the acid blend. We have Yeast Nutrient, Campden tablets, and Pectic Enzyme. We also have yeast. This is a wine yeast. Please do not use bread yeast for your wine. I have some distilled water over here on the side, as well as some sugar. I have a clean cotton cloth. We'll need that to cover the bucket later. And in this bag I have 9 pounds of frozen raspberries. They look kind of chunky right now, but trust me, these were so beautiful. I had the most beautiful crop of raspberries last year, and I washed them and froze them all, and they've been kind of thawing out a little bit. They're still partially frozen, which may complicate this process just a little bit, but a lot of really great wines come from frozen fruit, and so I thought you might want to see what that looks like and what to expect, and maybe some tips and tricks on how to make it work better for you if you're going straight from frozen. Of course, you could just thaw it out and then, you know, it wouldn't be a problem. The very first thing we want to do is put our must bag inside the bucket. And you want to secure it tightly to the top of your bucket, because you don't want it falling in once we start putting all the ingredients in. All right, that's nice and stable. I'm gonna clear off my workspace, and then we're gonna start putting the berries in. We've got all of these berries, and the first thing we're gonna do is get them all opened up. And all the fruit just goes right in here, and if you can smash it on the way, all the better for it. Now that we've got all the berries in here, we're gonna add 13.5 cups of sugar. Now it's time to talk about water. What kind of water do you want to add to your wine? If you've watched my wine series before, a lot of times I don't use water. This one I'm going to. And also, I usually use tap water. But, I don't know, it just smells like high chlorine in the water today, and I don't want that to foul up my wine. So I'm gonna use distilled water. You can, if you have, you know, really, if you could smell the chlorine in your water, you wanna either use distilled water, you could filter your water, or you could boil your water. You could also just measure it out and then leave it out overnight and use it the next day. That'll let the chlorine dissipate out of the water. That's the scoop on water. And for this recipe, you can add up to 4 gallons of water. And I'm gonna start with 2 and see where we're at. I put the sugar in first because I want it to, you know, dissolve by the water being poured over it. You could also mix the sugar in with the water before you pour it in. Either way, it doesn't really matter. It's all going to the same place. scratchy. I have a measuring tape on the side of this bucket, and we are measuring at about 3.5 gallons. So that's including all of the berries and all that, but the berries eventually are going to come out. A lot of them will break down, but it's still going to be a lot of plant material that's going to come out. I'm going to add 1 more gallon to this bucket. It's nice to have a little bit of extra. When I'm making the wine, a lot of times you'll say, well, it's a 3-gallon recipe, why are you using up to 4 gallons of water? Part of that is because you just lose some wine in the re-racking process and evaporation and all the different kinds of things that can happen. I personally just like to make my batch a little bit more, and then I have some 1-gallon carboys kind of hanging around that if I have enough extra, I'll put them in there. But once you get later on in the stages, it's important that your wine goes up to the tippy top. Just put that in, your back pocket for now, because we're not going to need that information right now. But if you're wondering why I'm making more than, 3 gallons, that's why. Now let's add 3 Campden tablets, and they do need to be crushed. I just put them in a plastic bag and use the bottle to crush it. It's pretty easy. They're not super hard. Okay, there they are in my baggie. And we'll pour that right in on top. Now we need 3 teaspoons of the Yeast Nutrient. And 1.5 teaspoons of Pectic Enzyme. Then we're going to want to give this a good stir. Got that extra gallon added in there. And now we'll add the 1.5 teaspoons of the acid blend. And give that a really good stir. Okay, the point where we're at now is to decide how we're going to check the gravity. I think I might actually, instead of using the Wine Thief, I think I might just throw it in here. So let's do that and see what happens. Okay. Oh, let me get you up close and so you can see what that looks like. All right, that's as close as I can get it for you. But I can tell you, well, you might be able to see it with the line of bubbles right there. This is going to be a wonderful wine. And I'll mark that down in my little journal where I keep track of all my ingredients and the gravity readings. Now all we have to do is get this tied up. Cinch that down really good. And then I like to do an extra tie around the neck as well, just to make sure that nothing comes out the top, because we are going to be agitating this a little bit. I would like some really nice color in this wine, so I'm going to be leaving the spoon in the bucket so that we can agitate this daily. So there goes the spoon, there goes the bag, everything in the water. All right. Now we're going to cover it up. I'm just going to put a clip right here around this to make sure that no bugs or dust or dog hairs can get in there. The next step is to leave it just like this for 24 hours. I'm not going to be back with you in 24 hours though, so make note of the next step. 24 hours from now, you're going to sprinkle in an entire package of wine yeast. You don't even have to stir it in. I don't normally keep my spoon in here. I don't normally stir it or mess with it or anything like that. I'm just doing it this time because I want a little bit more of that red color. And I am going to stir in the yeast, but again, you don't have to. All you have to do is sprinkle it on top and you're good to go. It'll filter down and get all in there. So what happens after tomorrow? After you've sprinkled the yeast in, your next step is to cover it back up and leave it alone for 5 days. That is when I'm going to be back with you for part 2 of how to make raspberry wine. I hope this was informative and I hope you'll make some raspberry wine along with me. If you have any questions, please pop them down in the comments. I would also like to let you all know that due to high demand, I did build myself a website for all my herbal products, and you can find that link also down in the description box. All right, you guys, I'll be seeing you soon. Bye!